Hey everybody, I'm your pal Wes, and it is a beautiful day because your buddies at Bastl have been busting their butts to bring you boatloads of new features to the new Softpop SP2 firmware. I think they deserve a bravo. Perhaps maybe take a bow. Wow, so refined. Just like the brand new firmware for the SP2. They've crammed some extra code in there, tightened a few things up, and made it so the experience of sequencing and playing music with the Softpop 2 is the best it's ever been. So let's get right into it. So first up, let's take a look at some of the awesome additions to the sequencer. You can now tap in step gates by holding rec and popping yourself a trig in here while the sequencer's playing. Let's take a look. So check this out. If we hit play now and then hold pattern and slide to engage the recording, we can tap in our step gates with the trig key. What this also means is that now when you hold down the record buttons, it doesn't immediately engage the pitch recording. You have to move the fader in order for it to start recording. So just a little bit of a refinement there, but I think it's really cool. It gives you a little bit more time to think about things in the moment. Speaking of pitch, a new direct step mode has been implemented, which completely overhauls the SP2's sequencer. This replaces the old offline step editing mode because it works while the sequencer is running and while it's stopped. It's really sick. Let's take a look here. The old offline mode, you had to engage record while the sequencer was stopped in order to plug in, new sequence data with the arrow buttons. But now you can just grab a step and the arrow buttons will jump to the next available note in the active scale. So if you change the scale here maybe to, something like that, the notes will, they'll stay in scale for you. What this also means is that now gates are turned on and off at the release of the button instead of the push. And they're only gonna be changed if there's no other editing going on. So if I click that button and I, click and I let go, gate's gone. If I click and let go and it's on, now I can click and change the pitch, let go, it's gonna stay on here, all right? So just a little, a little bit of a change to the way that the offline editing works, but it's very, very cool because it introduces this new way to edit notes, which is by grabbing a step and moving the fader here. And now what you can also do is preview that step with the tempo button. And this also works for multiple steps at the same time. So let's say we want to grab step 3 and step 7. We'll hold down and we'll move the pitch fader here. All right, cool. Real quick, let's take a deeper look at the new edit mode here. I just want to point out a few things. First and foremost is that when you edit a note now, it's gonna flash at you and let it know that it's the active note that's being edited, and it's also gonna let you know that it's been edited. If it's flashing, that means it's probably gotten some pitch information. Something else I wanna point out is that when you hold multiple steps and you're able to edit them with the pitch fader, this little light up here, the leftmost pitch light, is gonna flash at you, and also both of the steps, or however many steps you have selected, are gonna flash at you. So that's another great visual indicator to know, okay, I'm getting that pitch information assigned to those steps. It's also important to note that you can edit multiple steps with the pitch fader editing, but the arrows are going to allow you to only edit one step at a time. And lastly, I just want to point out that when you are using the pitch fader to do the editing, it's important to kind of give it a little bit of inertia right away. You kind of got to move it quickly to hop into step editing mode. Otherwise, if you move it more slowly, it's just going to start to transpose the sequence. You can see the difference because if you're transposing, it's going to be just a solid left lit light. And if you start to adjust the pitch, it's going to start blinking at you and you're going to see it on the step there. So it's got some good visual indication, just kind of need to familiarize yourself with it. So let's get you familiar. Let's use these new tools to create some cool patterns and we'll see how it all works on the fly, right? Let's go to a fresh pattern here and we'll just hit play because all of these new sequencing tools that we now have access to, they work while the sequencer is running and while it's stopped. So let's just hold record here and tap in a little thing here. And then we still have access to the old recording modes as well. So we can hold rec and move the fader around. you know, to get a little, we'll put the rest of the notes in there, to get a little descending thing in there. That's one of my favorite tricks. This is like a nice little gesture. But let's say, you know, maybe for these two notes here, and I'll grab that last one, so maybe I'll grab boop, boop, so 3 whole notes in general, and we'll kind of grab, we'll kind of put them way up high there, and then maybe let's put some slide gates. That sounded pretty cool. All right, so we got some little slide gates in there, and you know what I think? What does this note sound like? Yeah, I think this one needs to be maybe something closer to that, right? Yeah, because then we should have, all right, so that's kind of a little bit more what I was going for here. So you can see we can really quickly hop back and forth between grabbing a note using the pitch fader, as well as stopping, grabbing a note, and using that. And then if we wanted to change the scale even, we could pop that in there, and let's see here we got here. I like that scale a little bit better, so maybe maybe we'll chain like a little pentatonic deal. We'll do this scale and this scale. Yeah, okay, so I like how that sounds, and maybe we'll hammer in 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, okay, that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll add some cool play modes in there. I know that 5 and 6 kind of just hop around the first 3 and the last 3, so I like those a lot. So maybe we'll go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These additions add an enormous amount of fun and precision to the already amazing Softpop sequencer. They let you get exactly where you want to go a little bit more intuitively and a little bit quicker, in my opinion. So go play around with them, see what kind of cool gestures and fun sort of, you know, riffs and rhythms you can cook up. And that's not all. Bastl was able to cram a little bit more of kind of just, you know, tweaks and other stuff in there, so let's check it out. Also included in this update are some refinements and tweaks to how the Softpop deals with clocks. You should feel a little bit more solid of a clock there, and it should not hiccup when its reset input is pinged anymore, as well as a few little just tighten up when you're adding clock or taking it away. It should kind of just like pick up a little bit faster on that. Bastl's also increased the MIDI readout speed and included the MIDI through to the TX if you want to hack in there and get the MIDI output in. Certain signals could make the transpose and pitch inputs kind of jump around a little bit, but there's been improved filtering put on both of those inputs, so those problems should be gone. And finally, the triggered pitch mode, which is accessed by holding pattern and MIDI. You can see it turns on right there, and it's also the number 4 when you do your startup sequence here. So if we start up, boop, that light's on, so triggered pitch is on. It's now auto-saved. Additionally, we also saw that number 6 was lit up when we turned on here, so that is wave shape assigned to fine tune here. So we can now, you know, do that real quick. That is actually assigned by holding slide while doing startup, just a quick reminder for you. But now that wave shape is saved when you hit saved, the value of the fine tune fader. So that's pretty cool. So let's get your Softpop updated. First things first, make sure that you're on the digital VCO jumper, which is on the inside of the unit. If you're unsure if you're on the digital VCO, now is a perfect time to double check. But once we're sure of that, you're gonna wanna hold down MIDI, turn on the unit here, and then get your file ready on a computer, phone, whatever you're gonna play back the file on. Make sure you've got a nice TRS cable here and no other audio is gonna go over this cable, and then plug it into the reset jack there, and then press play on your file, and you'll start to see a little animation happen, and then you just gotta let it go, okay? Just, you know, let it do its thing. Once the animation completes, it'll just flash like this for you, all the lights. You can turn your unit off, unplug your cable, turn it back on, it'll flash 3 at you, and then let you know what your startup settings are, and you are good to go. Whoa, 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 hold your horses. There's one more thing we gotta do. Just calibrate the transpose input. It's super duper easy here, right? So what you're gonna wanna do is take the CV output, pop that into the transpose input, and then hold slide and scale while you power up the unit here, and it should kind of do a little thing, pop, and you should be good. All right, and then power cycle the unit one more time, and you're ready to rock. And that is the Softpop SP2 version 3 update. So get your unit updated, go have some fun, make sure to like, subscribe. I've been your pal Wes, and we'll see you next time.